Good day. Today, the University of San Agustin College of Education Mathematics Society brings you pasALAMath, integrating technology in the construction of instructional materials as an alternative class for University Week 2022. In this lecture, we're going to discuss educational technology. And so, what is educational technology? So, educational technology is a course given to education majors. It's about how to integrate technology in your education, and it's a 3-unit course usually given to diploma in teaching students, and of course in your majors is one of your major subjects. Before, it's just your how to use computers, your laptops and phones in the classes usually, if at first glance that's what you want to know. But later, it's more on how to make use of technology in delivering the lesson itself and in the assessment of students' learning above all. So in teaching, we divide educational technology into 2 parts usually, but more on the combination now is more pronounced because of the online classes ongoing. But still, these are the 2 aspects of educational technology. The first one is teaching. So in teaching, you should know your content and then what instructional materials that you are going to use for your lectures, or for the content that you want your students to learn from you, or what you want your students to learn from each other. Then you have your technology. If you speak of technology, usually you just feel that it's your phone, it's the light bulb, it's your car. So those are actually technologies. But in education, technology is anything actually that you can use to help you deliver your content. So whether it's the whiteboard, the blackboard, a flipboard, your phone, the computer, your projector, so these are all considered technologies that are used in education. So in an ideal situation, especially right now that we are experiencing online classes, you would want your setup to be actually good for you. So you want that all of your students can actually be present in your classes, that you can actually see their faces, and they don't have problems with internet connectivity. But then we know that that's not actually possible here in a country. So that the actual situation is that you have students who are disconnected all the time. You have students who can actually attend your classes because there's no signal. We have power interruptions, and all these things that you should take into consideration when you're actually the teacher. And sure. So we have so many challenges in the online classes, especially here in the provinces, and more so for you if you're going to teach secondary education and elementary education, where the ed right now is actually more on module learning, and there are only a few sections to actually do online classes, and most of those are actually served for usually science classes. But anyway, don't take my word for it because I haven't really interviewed anybody. Just an observation. Anyway, so as a teacher, the challenges that you will experience during these online classes is gauging the correct amount of classwork to give. So is it too much or is it too few? Would this number of activities actually make the student learn the topic, or is the student actually learning something from all the topics that you've read, especially if there are too much of them? And making sure that the students actually understood the lesson, since most of the students actually prefer to go off camera, so you can actually see their face. So you cannot see nga katango man sila gali or nagauo man sila because well wala man sila mic, wala man sila cam. So this is a challenge. So knowing if the student actually understood you or they just attend the class or the online class for attendance sake. And the third one is being available for students. I know that some of the teachers actually are reminding everybody that you should not actually email your teacher in the middle of the night or chat your students your teacher in the middle of the night, because well, that's supposedly off-time classes. But there's also a question of when do you actually answer your students' questions? Because of course you have other students to entertain, you have classes to do, all this. But this is it's actually different. But just a reminder that be also polite. So we have if you're going to email your teachers, we have schedulers right now. So you just schedule send for 8 a.m. in the morning so that the teacher can see the email later. And so yeah, and so this is also one thing that I don't usually do. So I don't actually give my Facebook account or Facebook Messenger account to my students, because this is one thing that I avoid. So I usually give it to class reps. So the class reps can email me anytime with the class's concern, but not everybody can just give a chat. Okay, so anyway, it depends on the teacher's prerogative. So, but this is one problem that I see as a challenge in doing online classes. Okay. So for you as a student, it might be not true for everybody, but the first one is internet connectivity, and this is actually also true for teachers. So in internet connectivity, we actually also group this with power interruptions, because of course if there is no power, there's also no internet connectivity, especially if you're using Wi-Fi or DSL or fiber, because no power, no internet. And if you're using mobile data, the signal is quite weak, especially if the brownout is in your area and then everybody goes mobile. So yeah, signal interruptions and all that. Then the second one is gauging classroom atmosphere. So students have problems feeling the class. So if the class is enjoyable or not, if your teacher is a bore, if you don't want the teacher or you like the teacher. So you didn't actually see how your classmates respond to this teacher, especially if you're first years and you don't actually know each other yet. Then collaborating with others. I think you'll agree with me that it's actually really hard to force people to work on a group project, especially if you don't actually see them. Okay? So yeah, so in cases like this, especially if there are students who go to the teacher or come to me and say, "Ma'am, si Amuni, si so and so does not actually help in the project and all." Okay, so that's why usually you have rubrics, and one of the items there is cooperation. Okay, so you can allow your students to rate each other, and that's why in rating your classmates' output, since it's actually a small total in your product, if your output in general, I'm saying that you should be honest, to be fair to you and also to be fair to the rest of the group, and how your group might really perform in doing the collaborative work. Okay, but anyway, topic for today is this. That was just a, you know, what is the situation right now. So, as a future professional learning in this time of the pandemic, do you feel that you're actually adequately prepared? And our target audience is actually education students. So, as a future teacher, do you think that you're ready to be an online teacher, especially if our face-to-face classes will be pushed again? So, yes or no? Well, it will depend on you and how you will adapt as a professional later, or how you are adapting as a student right now. So, you ask yourself, who will help me prepare to become a better professional? So the answer will always be yourself, because no matter how forceful a teacher is, on how many lectures you will attend, how many seminars you will go to, or webinars you will go to improve yourself, if you don't actually start with yourself, those will be just seminars. Okay? So yourself, you'll prepare yourself, should be ready, of course, with a little help from your available technology. And I say available technology because there are a lot of technologies that are not actually available for us. Okay? Especially here in the provinces. Okay? So now we go to the meat of this discussion, which is actually suggestions and a little bit of demonstrations. Okay? So one of the things that I've learned during the past 2 years for the pandemic is that you should actually record all your classes. Okay? So, especially if there are lecture types and there are a lot of demonstrations, you should record all your classes. It is also to help your students who cannot actually attend the actual class because of internet connectivity issues during the class hour. So they can actually opt to, watch the recording later, especially at night when the YouTube or the internet signal is stronger. So let's go to my favorite recording. You can use other recordings, but the one that I've used right now, in the last 2 years at least, is this one. It's called OBS. It's OBS Studio. So at the start, we used Google Meet recording, but we found out that the video is actually shaky and the words are not understood, especially if the one discussing or talking has slow internet connection. So it's just a like that. So this one is recommended to me because it's I can just screen grab everything on my desktop, and I can actually, of course, I can edit the intro and the outro, and I can delete some parts that are not really important. That especially times if you ask a question and nobody actually answers for 3 minutes, you can just remove that 3 minutes. Well, if you have the time to do that, of course. But of course, if you just want to record it, then you can just record this one. You cut the intro and outro, or don't cut anything at all and just load it. Okay? So this is OBS. So the most important feature to know, of course, is the start recording button, which is right now is recording because I'm actually recording this lecture right now. And then you can also click this one. This is a pause button in case you feel that the students are taking a long time to answer. So you can just pause. And then when they start talking, then you just start recording. Okay? Then we have this one. You can use the Windows full capture. So everything that will be going on in my screen will be captured by the software. Or you can actually also use this one. Or you can actually add a browser. So if you want that your browser will be the only one to be captured, so you can add browser here and you just check that one, that it will be the one to be captured. Especially if you're using Google Slides like I'm doing right now, or if using something else. Okay, so let's capture yung display capture and game capture in case you're planning to be a gamer in the future, a streamer, you can do this. Okay, then you have a video capture device. The video capture device is the camera. So you have this one. It will add this one. Okay, so that's an internal camera. And then after you finish your recording, so those are the basics. And after you start recording, you can just click stop recording. And then you can just click file, then show your recordings, and then it will bring you to the folder where the recording was stored. Okay, so that's fine. This is OBS. Of course, you can use other technology also for recording. I'm just saying that this is one that comes highly recommended. Then store your lessons online. So there are a lot of storage, server storage online. You have Vimeo. You can actually store this in Facebook if you want. But I prefer YouTube for storing my lessons because you can choose your quality. So it can go as low as 240. Okay, so let's go to YouTube. Okay, so in YouTube, if you don't want it, if you want to separate YouTube from your personal YouTube, then you can actually just create a you can just create a channel on your YouTube. Okay, that will be for a different lesson. Anyway, if you already have a YouTube account and YouTube channel, then you can just create a playlist. For example, you have 3 playlists here. So this is statistics how to, GA3 lectures, and then you have the alternative class lectures, because where this video right now will go later. Okay, but this is the USA Math and channel. Okay, then you can just create a new playlist in your channel. Then you can click your visibility if it's public, so meaning everyone can see this. When private, anyone should log into your YouTube to their YouTube account or their Gmail account to view the to view this playlist. Or you can just click it as unlisted and they just give the playlist link to your student, which is what I do. Okay, so it's unlisted and I give the link to my students so they can view their videos. Okay, and after that one, you can just create a video, then you can upload your video. Okay, so for example, the one that I'm recording right now, I will be editing that one using Windows Movie Maker, and then I'll ask somebody to remove the bzzz. Then upload this one to YouTube. So you can just select your file, select a video, 6:28:11. I have this one. This one I recorded this earlier to test, so you can upload. Then you can add a title. You can add description, you can add a thumbnail, or it will select one for you. Then the playlist, so you can just select. So I will put this under alternative class lectures, and then you're done. Or you can use other, or you can add other. Yes, then you can. No, it's not made for kids. Allow available places. It's English. Recording date, you can add the date. I recorded that one earlier, so you can choose a date. That you can also just okay. Then these are allow embedding, allow people sample this content. So you can uncheck those if you want. This is for education. Next. Add subtitles. Next. Next. And then you can also choose if it's private, unlisted, or public. So again, if it's private, people need to log into YouTube to watch this video. If it's unlisted, you can just send the link to anybody. And then if it's public, then it's available for everybody. Okay? So then you save, and it will upload this video, which we are not going to do because this was just a test. Okay? So that's YouTube for you. You have recorded your lessons, you stored your lessons online. Okay, so these are my two major concerns actually in doing online, or major but suggestions when doing online classes. Okay, so if you do your lessons, you store them online. I think I have folders of in my account. This is the USA Math and Stat account, so we use this for official videos, but for lessons I use my own Gmail account also for that one from the school to store my lectures. Okay, the next is use tools that are available to you and your audience. This one actually I don't really recommend PearDeck for to use in classes, but it's available because we call this, it needs a strong internet connectivity, but actually it is also cool. It's actually a good app. So for if you're using Google Slides, then you can simply go to add-ons, then you get add-ons. Then you simply type PearDeck here. Well, it's recommended for me here and it's already installed. Okay, but you can just search it for here. Anyway, we have other ones here like Math Type for math equations, Lucid Charts for charts. Okay. Anyway, so simply install, and it's already installed here. Just click that one. Okay, so here in add-ons, you can see PearDeck add-on for Google Slides, then you just say open PearDeck. Okay. What people like, what I like about this one, or what most people like about this one, is that you can actually prepare your Google Slides beforehand, and you just insert your questions. Okay, so for example, these are the available questions in the free account. So that's a text, choice, number, and website. So for text, okay, so you can just put your question here. Okay, so for example, you can add do you like PearDeck? So that's a question, so that's a text. And then let's duplicate this one. Okay. And then I would like this as a choice. So yes, no, maybe. Okay. So you can also have number if you want our answers to be numbers, and websites. Okay, let's check those two, but not really create slides for them. Enter a number, and for the last one, students enter number. This one. Write your response, choose an option, enter a number, and then we go to the last one, which is a website. Okay, then you can enter a web address here where, you know, if you want a, for example, a Google form or something else to be added here, then you can just do that. Okay, so that's for your website. Anyway, the rest of these are for paid PairDeck accounts. You usually have those rows. Okay, so now to view your lesson using PearDeck. So let's have a student-based activity. So we added PairDeck slides on page 10 to 13. This is one reason why I don't usually use PairDeck. It's a lot of steps, okay, and it takes a while to load. So I'll open a different account. So you can use this one actually offline. You just give your students the link and they can, you know, start doing it on their own. So that's slide 10. So, do you like PearDeck? So that's a question. You can, yes, because. And then here, start class. Okay, and then we go to 10. One response and show responses. Yes, that's your student's response. Okay, then let's go to the next question, which is maybe. Yes. Okay, then here. And show your response. So yeah, one student answered yes. And next, you have your enter a number. Here, I didn't change the question. One, and then for the last one, we didn't change this one. So for this one, we have Do you like PearDeck? And then the response is, one student answered 65. That's what the answer was. And then for this one, it's 1,000. It's a number. Anyway, if you have a link here, then it will just show how many students visited the link. That's PairDeck. Okay, so if you want, you can actually prepare your slides, then you just give your students and do a student-based session so that the students can actually answer the questions in their own time. And it's like an interactive slides where they can answer the questions from time to time. So usually it's more on self-evaluation, the students' part, since it's not in an online class anymore. If it's student-based, so they can just log in anytime and, you know, use the slides that you gave them to do the lesson. Okay, so things to remember when doing online classes. So be aware of the tools available from your institution or company. So for example, in the University of San Agustin, NEO LMS is available for teachers. But aside from that, you also have Gmail accounts, or you can use this for a lot of things. So in NEO, we have Google Meet, MS Teams that are integrated, so you can use those for classes. Though Google Meet actually removed the recording right now, but MS Teams still has recordings, you can use that also, and it has actually a lower internet consumption compared to Zoom and Google Meet, the MS Teams at least. Then you can use Google Forms to do your lessons, Google Slides, Google Excel. These are all online things. Yeah, so but these are available for you because you have a Google account. The university has a Google account. So if you find yourself working for an institution, say DepEd, DepEd has also MS Teams, and they have a DepEd SIM card given to all the teachers, and that are also available for the lesson. Yes. And then you have Google Form. So just be aware of what are available for you and use those. Then remember that technology integration should make your life easier. So for example, I say that I do not usually use PairDeck because it takes longer to load and it needs internet connectivity. Okay, so this is a hassle, especially if we're talking and then you just have to wait for the page to load. So look for apps that are available online and that are easy for you to use. So for example, I have built-in whiteboard here in my laptop, so I use this sometimes when I do a lecture on major classes because you have to do equations, so you have to write that down. So that's easier when you have a pen and a whiteboard. But I don't usually use this because writing is a hassle also, so I only use those for major subjects. Then yeah. And keep it simple. You don't have to have lots of transitions, lots of flashy things. The important thing is that you get your lessons across to your students and that you had an easy time doing it. Especially you actually have to prepare it once, but then the manner of delivery will also depend on the class. Okay, so you can't actually go fast paced on all your classes because there are some classes that cannot do fast paced. Okay, then you also have to adjust the number of activities and the number of assessments. So there are classes that needs more assessment, so to let you know that they actually understood the lesson, and there are actually classes that was one or two assessment and then you're good, or only one assessment, or even the assessment during class, because some classes are actually interactive while others are not. Okay, so yeah, just adjust your lessons after. Okay. So that's my thoughts on integrating technology with online classes. Okay, and the next two speakers will discuss what technologies they're actually using right now after we discussed the different types of technology last year in their class and learning. Okay, so at least this one you can relate to because there's are actually students who I asked to do their own lesson plan. So these are some of the technologies that they're integrated in the outputs that they've submitted to me. So good day and thank you for listening.